Commander Minho was drinking his morning coffee when the emergency alarm started screaming through Earth's orbital defense station. K. The sound made his heart jump as he rushed to the command center. In his 10 years of service, he had never heard that particular alarm. It meant only one thing. First contact. The massive viewing screen flickered to life, showing a signal coming from deep space. The transmission was unlike anything Earth had ever received. Complex patterns of light and sound filled the room as the alien message decoded itself through humanity's translation systems. Greetings, humans of the planet you call Earth. The voice was cold and mechanical, speaking perfect English through some kind of universal translator. Minho felt his hands shake as he recorded everything. This moment would change human history forever. I am Velther, speaking for the Galactic Council. Your species has been observed and judged. You have 72 hours to evacuate all human settlements beyond your home planet. Failure to comply will result in forced removal. The message continued with coordinates and technical details. But Minho was already reaching for the emergency communication line. Within minutes, every important person on Earth would know that humanity was no longer alone in the universe. 2 hours later, Ju sat across from the alien hologram in Earth's most secure conference room. As chief diplomat, she had prepared for this moment her entire career, though she never truly believed it would happen. The alien called Velthor looked like a tall, thin human covered in gray scales, with 4 arms and eyes that glowed yellow. We can discuss terms, Ju said, calmly, though her heart was racing. Surely there is room for negotiation between our peoples. Slav sounded like metal scraping against stone. You misunderstand, human. This is not a negotiation. This is an order from the Galactic Council. Your species will comply or face the consequences. What laws have we broken? Ju asked. We have never encountered other intelligent species before this moment. Your rapid expansion is dangerous. Your technology develops too quickly. Your military thinking is too aggressive. The Council has observed many species like yours. Kana, they all require correction. Kana, the word correction sent a chill down Ju's spine. Kana, she had read enough history to know what happened when powerful empires talked about correcting smaller groups. How many species are part of this council? She asked. 47 races serve the council's wisdom. Soon it will be 48. Your integration will be peaceful if you cooperate. Ju kept her face calm, but inside she was calculating. 47 species meant this council was massive. Earth might be facing an enemy unlike anything in human history. Meanwhile, 3 floors below, Doyan was working frantically in Earth's Defense Intelligence Center. His team had been monitoring deep space communications for years, looking for exactly this kind of signal. Now that it had arrived, he wished they had never found it. What are we looking at? Doyan asked his lead analyst. The transmission came from a fleet positioned just outside our solar system. Initial scans show approximately 500 ships of various sizes. The largest ones are bigger than anything we've ever built. Doyen stared at the tactical display. 500 ships. Earth's entire space navy consisted of 37 vessels. And most of those were designed for exploration, not warfare. There's something else, sir, his analyst continued. We've detected similar transmissions being sent to other systems. It isn't just about Earth. They're making demands across multiple star systems simultaneously. Any responses from those other systems? 3 systems have already transmitted surrender codes. Complete capitulation within hours of receiving the ultimatum. Doyan felt sick. Other intelligent species existed, and they were giving up without a fight. I started to understand why this Galactic Council felt so confident about their ultimatum. To Earth, his computer chimed with an incoming message. Deep space monitoring stations had detected something else. The alien fleet wasn't just sitting at the edge of the solar system. They were scanning Earth's colonies, mapping human settlements, and analyzing Earth's defenses. "They're not here to negotiate," Doyan muttered. "They're here to conquer." He immediately sent his findings to President Soman, knowing that Earth's leader would need every piece of information available to make the most important decision in human history. President Samin stood in her office, looking out at the city below. In a few hours, she would have to tell 8 billion people that their world had changed forever. The reports from Ju and Doyen painted a clear picture. Humanity faced a choice between slavery and war. Her advisors wanted more time to study the aliens. Her military commanders wanted to start mobilizing immediately. Her scientists wanted to analyze the alien technology. But Sami knew that none of that mattered now. The Galactic Council had made their intentions clear. She activated the emergency broadcast system, knowing that her next words would echo across Earth and be heard by the alien fleet watching from space. "Citizens of Earth, I speak to you today about the greatest challenge our species has ever faced. We are not alone in the universe. An organization calling itself the Galactic Council has demanded that humanity abandon our colonies and submit to their authority." She paused, letting the magnitude of her words sink in. "They tell us that 47 other species have already joined their empire. They expect us to become the 48th. They believe we will surrender our freedom because their fleet outnumbers ours." Another pause. Across Earth, billions of people stopped what they were doing to listen. They are wrong. Humanity has never bowed to tyrants. We have never surrendered our freedom to bullies. We will not start now. To the Galactic Council listening to this transmission, I say this: Earth rejects your ultimatum. We will not evacuate our colonies. We will not submit to your authority. If you want our worlds, you will have to take them. The transmission ended, but Saman remained at her window. She knew that her words had just declared war against an enemy that controlled nearly 50 species across the galaxy. But she also knew that some things were worth fighting for, no matter the odds. In space, aboard the lead council ship, Velthor received the human response with something that might have been amusement. In his long career, he had delivered ultimatums to dozens of species. Most surrendered immediately. A few tried to negotiate. Only one had ever refused outright. That species no longer existed. He gave the order to begin the attack. Admiral Kyung stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominion's Edge, as it led the Galactic Council's invasion fleet toward Earth. In his 300 years of service, he had conquered 17 different species for the Council. None had ever taken more than a few days to surrender completely. "Humans are young and primitive," he told his officers. "Our scans show their largest ships are barely 200 meters long. Our smallest destroyers are 5 times that size. This will be over quickly." Behind him, his tactical officer reported that the human fleet was moving to intercept him. Kyung almost laughed. 37 small ships against 500 of the galaxy's most advanced warships. T would be a massacre. What Kyung did not know was that Captain Haiyan was watching his fleet from a position the aliens could never detect. Her ship, the Shadow Strike, was humanity's most secret weapon. It used technology that the Galactic Council had never encountered before. All stealth. "Ship's report status," Haiyan whispered into her communications device. "Ghost Runner ready. Silent Death ready. Voidwalker ready." 12 voices confirmed their readiness. 12 ships that the alien fleet could not see, hear, or detect in any way. While the Council's massive fleet focused on Earth's visible navy, humanity's invisible hunters were already moving into position. Haiyan had studied every piece of data about the alien fleet. She knew their formation patterns, their communication frequencies, and most importantly, their weaknesses. The aliens fought like they expected to win easily. They had never faced an enemy that refused to play by their rules. To target their supply. Ships first, she ordered. Without fuel and ammunition, their big ships become floating metal. The first quantum torpedo hit a Council supply vessel without warning. The explosion lit up space as the ship's reactor overloaded. Before the aliens could react, 11 more torpedoes found their targets. In 30 seconds, the invasion fleet lost a quarter of their support ships. Admiral Kung stared at his tactical display in shock. Red symbols marked destroyed ships, but his sensors showed no enemy vessels in those areas. It was impossible. How are they attacking us? He demanded. His tactical officer was frantically scanning space. Admiral, our sensors detect nothing. No ships, no energy signatures, no weapon signatures. It's like the attacks are coming from empty space. Another wave of explosions rocked the fleet as more supply ships died. Kyung realized that his enemy was using some kind of stealth technology far beyond anything the Council had ever developed. All ships, defensive formation Omega, he ordered. Begin random, evasive maneuvers. Kate. But Captain Hyen had anticipated this response. Her ships had been moving continuously, never staying in one position long enough to be detected, even if the aliens figured out how to see them. Phase 2, she commanded. Target their communication arrays. The alien fleet's coordination began, breaking down as their command ships lost the ability to talk to each other. Without communication, Kyung's 500 ships became 500 separate targets, each fighting alone. Meanwhile, Earth's visible fleet was engaging the aliens in what appeared to be a conventional space battle. Commander Nari led this frontal assault, knowing that her ships were outgunned and outmanned. But her job was not to win. Her job was to distract the aliens while the stealth ships did their real work. All ships, attack pattern Delta, Nari commanded. Make them think we're desperate. Her ships charged straight at the alien fleet, firing everything they had. The aliens responded exactly as expected, focusing all their attention on the obvious threat while ignoring the invisible danger surrounding them. The battle became chaos as explosions lit up space in all directions. Alien ships tried to target enemies they could not see, while human ships darted between them like angry insects. The Council's superior firepower meant nothing when they could not hit their targets. Researcher Ubin watched the battle from Earth's orbital laboratory. His quantum disruptor missiles were performing beyond his wildest expectations. The alien ships had no defense against weapons that attacked matter at the atomic level. Begin production of advanced quantum warheads, he ordered his team. If these work this well, I have ideas for something much more destructive. His assistants worked frantically to build more of the revolutionary weapons. Earth's factories had been secretly preparing for this war for months. Every human colony had been building weapons and ships, hiding their true military capacity from alien observation. The tide of battle shifted when Captain Hyen's stealth ships began targeting the alien warships directly. Council vessels that had seemed invincible suddenly found their armor melting under quantum fire. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds died without ever seeing their killers. Admiral Kyung watched his fleet fall apart around him. In 2 hours of fighting, he had lost over 150 ships. The humans had lost only 6 vessels, and those had been destroyed by accident when they flew too close to exploding alien ships. This is impossible, he said to his remaining officers. How can primitives fight like this? K's communications officer managed to re-establish contact with a few other council ships. The reports were all the same. Invisible enemies attacking without warning. Weapons that could not be defended against. Humans fighting with tactics that made no sense. Admiral, his tactical officer reported, we're detecting human ships moving to surround us. If we don't retreat now, we'll be trapped. Kyung realized that he had walked into a carefully planned trap. The humans had not simply reacted to his attack. They had been ready for it. They had planned for it. They had wanted him to attack. All ships, retreat to the outer system, he ordered. We need time to analyze these new weapons and tactics. As the surviving council ships fled, Commander Nari led her boarding teams onto 3 disabled alien vessels. The ships were filled with advanced technology and, more importantly, alien prisoners who could provide intelligence about the Galactic Council. Captain Hyan watched the alien fleet run away and smiled. The first battle was over, and humanity had won decisively, but she knew this was only the beginning. The aliens would be back with reinforcements and new strategies. All stealth ships returned to base, she ordered. We need to prepare for round 2. The interrogation of alien prisoners began immediately. What humans learned from their captives would shock them to their core. The Galactic Council controlled not just 47 species, but thousands of worlds. Earth had just declared war on an empire spanning half the galaxy. But the aliens had also learned something from this battle. They had discovered that humans were not like the other species they had conquered. Humans fought with a viciousness and cleverness that the Council had never encountered. The war that both sides expected to last days would continue for years. General Taman stood in front of the massive holographic display showing every human settlement across known space. Red dots marked Earth's colonies, green dots showed military bases, and blue dots indicated industrial centers. What the Galactic Council did not realize was that every single one of those settlements had been built for war. Activate Defense Protocol 7, Teammen commanded, across human space. Peaceful mining colonies suddenly revealed hidden weapons platforms, trade stations, opened secret military docks filled with warships. Research outposts activated planetary defense shields that had been disguised as weather control systems. The humans had been preparing for interstellar war since their first steps beyond Earth. Every colony, every station, every seemingly innocent settlement was actually a fortress waiting for the right moment to reveal its true purpose. Sir, all colonies report ready status, his aide announced. Total available fleet strength is now 843 ships. Temin smiled grimly. The aliens thought they were fighting 37 human ships. They were actually facing an armada nearly twice the size of their own fleet, hidden across dozens of star systems. On the industrial world of Nusor, Engineer Yuna was supervising the greatest manufacturing effort in human history. The planet's factories had been producing civilian goods for 20 years. Now, with the flip of a switch, every assembly line converted to military production. We need ships, weapons, and supplies, she told her supervisors. Every factory, every workshop, every garage becomes part of the war effort. It can be built. We build it for the military. The alien prisoners had revealed something important during their interrogation. The Galactic Council's technology was advanced, but their manufacturing was slow and careful. They've built ships to last for centuries, taking years to complete each vessel. Humans build ships to win wars quickly. Yuna's factories could produce 3 human warships in the time it took the aliens to build one of theirs. Quality might suffer, but quantity had a quality all its own. Production estimates show we can build 200 ships per month across all colonies, her chief engineer reported. If we push the workers to maximum shifts, we might reach 300. Push them, Yuna ordered. Every day we delay gives the aliens time to bring reinforcements. Speed is our greatest advantage. Meanwhile, Intelligence Officer Hound was working on humanity's secret weapon. The interrogated aliens had revealed something unexpected. Many species in the Galactic Council were not willing members. They had been conquered and forced to serve, just like the Council planned to do with Earth. Prepare encrypted transmissions to the following species, she told her communications team. The Kalari, the Mondak, the Yaxan, and the Drath. Tell them that humans are fighting the Council. Tell them that freedom is possible. The response surprised even Hound. Within hours, coded messages started arriving from across Council space. Resistance movements that had been hiding for decades suddenly saw hope. If humans could defeat Council fleets, maybe other species could win their freedom too. The Colliery sent detailed information about Council military bases. The Mondoc provided maps of supply routes. The Yaxan shared intelligence about Council leadership. The Dreth offered to sabotage Council shipyards from within. We're not just fighting a war, Hal realized. We're starting a revolution. Fleet Commander Jihan received his orders while patrolling the outer colonies. The Council's retreat had given humans time to prepare, but intelligence suggested they were gathering reinforcements. It was time for humanity to take the offensive. Tarka, the Council's regional headquarters in the Vega system, his orders read: destroy their ability to coordinate attacks on human space. Jihan smiled as he looked at his fleet. 50 ships, all equipped with the latest quantum weapons and stealth technology. The aliens expected humans to defend their own territory. They would never expect an attack deep inside Council space. The journey to Vega took 3 days. Jihan's ships moved through hyperspace routes that the Council believed were secret. But human intelligence had been busy, and Resistance allies had provided detailed navigation data. The Vega system contained 12 planets and the largest Council military base outside their home territories. Thousands of ships used the base for repairs and resupply. Destroying it would cripple Council operations across an entire sector of the galaxy. All ships, prepare for attack, Jihan commanded as they dropped out of hyperspace. The battle for Vega shocked the galaxy. Council forces at the base numbered over 200 ships, but they were spread across the system and unprepared for attack. Human ships struck fast and hard, targeting fuel depots, repair facilities, and command centers. Jihan's flagship led the assault on the main base. Quantum torpedoes turned massive space stations into expanding clouds of debris. Council ships tried to respond, but human stealth technology made them fight shadows. Sir, enemy reinforcements arriving from hyperspace, his tactical officer reported. All ships execute dispersal pattern, Jihan ordered. Let them chase ghosts while we finish the job. The human fleet scattered across the system, each ship targeting different objectives. Council reinforcements found themselves chasing enemies that vanished the moment they were engaged. Meanwhile, everything the Council needed to wage war in this sector burned around them. After 6 hours of fighting, the Vega system belonged to humans. The Council base was destroyed, along with over 300 enemy ships. Jihan's fleet had lost only 8 vessels, and those crews had been rescued before their ships were destroyed. But the real victory was not military. It was psychological. Across Council space, subjugated species watched the impossible happen. A young race had attacked the heart of Council power and won. If humans could do this, maybe freedom was not just a dream. News of the Vega victory spread faster than any government could control it. Resistance movements that had been dormant for centuries began to stir. Populations that had accepted Council rules started to question their masters. General Taman reviewed the battle reports with satisfaction. The war was expanding beyond simple human versus alien conflict. It was becoming something the Council had never faced before. A galaxy-wide uprising, with humanity leading the charge. Begin Phase 2 of the offensive, he ordered. Target every major Council facility within 50 light years of human space. Show them that nowhere is safe. The Galactic Council was beginning to understand the magnitude of their mistake. They had expected to conquer another primitive species. Instead, they had awakened a military culture that had spent its entire history perfecting the art of war. Earth's children were coming for them, and they were not coming alone. Admiral Sunwoo stared at the star chart in disbelief. The captured alien navigation computer had revealed something that changed everything. The Galactic Council's homeworld, Centralis Prime, was only 42 light-years from Earth. The mighty empire that controlled thousands of worlds had its heart closer to humanity than most human colonies. "Are we certain this data is accurate?" she asked her intelligence team. "Confirmed through 3 separate alien sources," her analyst replied. The Council kept their homeworld location secret from most of their own species. They never expected anyone to get this close to their core systems. Sun Wu realized the implications immediately. Every Council fleet was spread across the galaxy, fighting rebellions and maintaining control over distant worlds. Stingus Prime had minimal defenses because no enemy had ever threatened it directly. Strategic analyst Ninji was already working on the attack plan when Sun Wu arrived at the briefing room. The holographic display showed Council space with new information provided by Resistance allies. Supply lines, communication networks, government facilities, and military academies were all marked in detail. "We cannot just attack their homeworld," Minji explained. "We need to destroy their entire system of control, cut their communications, eliminate their leadership, and free their subject species, all at the same time." The plan was ambitious beyond anything humans had attempted before. Strike teams would hit 17 different systems simultaneously, targeting the infrastructure that held the Council's empire together. If it worked, a 1,000-year-old government would collapse in a matter of days. "What about their military response?" Sun Wu asked. "That is where our new weapon comes in," Minji replied with a smile. Scientist Yuna had been working in secret since the war began. The quantum cascade device was her masterpiece, a weapon that could destabilize the nuclear forces holding matter together. Used on a small scale, it could destroy individual ships. Used on a large scale, it could make entire star systems uninhabitable. "Weapon is ready for deployment," Yuna reported to the military leadership. "But I must warn you about its power, okay? This device can destroy planets, okay? It can make stars go supernova. Once we use it, there is no going back." General Temin considered the implications. Humanity had always fought to protect life, not destroy it, but the Council's oppression had lasted for centuries, and billions of beings across the galaxy suffered under their rule. "We will use the weapon only as a threat," he decided. "The Council needs to understand that continued resistance means total destruction." The demonstration took place in an empty system on the edge of Council space. Kuna's cascade device turned a lifeless planet into a cloud of subatomic particles in less than 10 seconds. The energy release was visible from nearby star systems, a message that could not be ignored. News of the weapon spread across the galaxy faster than any official communication. Species that had served the Council for generations suddenly began declaring independence. The threat of total annihilation was something even the most loyal Council members could not ignore. Captain Sung received the most dangerous mission of the war. The Council Military Academy on Warrior's Rest trained every officer in their fleet. Capturing it would not only provide valuable intelligence, but also eliminate the next generation of enemy leadership. "Remember, we want prisoners, not bodies," Sung told his assault team. "These are the Council's best and brightest. Their knowledge is worth more than their debts." The attack on Warrior's Rest was a masterpiece of tactical planning. Human stealth ships infiltrated the system undetected, while Resistance allies provided detailed information about the Academy's defenses. The assault began at dawn, when most of the cadets were asleep. Sung's teams moved through the Academy like ghosts, stunning guards and capturing students before they could resist. The young aliens who had trained to conquer other species found themselves prisoners of the very humans they had been taught to despise. "This is impossible," whispered Cadet Zaman as human soldiers secured his dormitory. The Council said humans were primitive savages. "Maybe the Council lied to you," Sung replied in perfect galactic standard. "Maybe they lie about everything." The psychological impact of the Academy's capture was devastating. Okay? These were the children of Council nobility, the future leaders of their empire. Karens across council space began questioning a government that could not protect their own offspring, but the captured cadets provided something even more valuable than psychological warfare. They knew the personal communication codes of council leadership, the locations of secret facilities, and most importantly, the internal political divisions that kept the empire together. Diplomatic envoy Kiyun was coordinating with resistance movements across 20 different star systems. What had started as scattered rebellions was becoming a coordinated revolution. Species that had been enemies for centuries were working together against their common oppressor. Clary have secured their homeworld, he reported to Earth's leadership. The Mondak have destroyed 3 council shipyards. The Yaxan are broadcasting freedom messages across the communication network. Each victory inspired more rebellions. The council's response was predictable but ineffective. They sent fleets to crush each uprising, but that only left other systems undefended. Human strike teams hit the weakened targets, capturing more territory and resources. The cascade effect was exactly what humanity had planned. The council faced a choice between abandoning their outer territories or leaving their core systems vulnerable. Either decision would weaken their empire. Supreme Chancellor Mordok stood in the council's emergency session, facing representatives from species that had served loyally for generations. Many of those representatives were now demanding answers about the war's conduct. How can primitives defeat our fleets? Demanded Senator Yixto. How can rebels capture our most secure facilities? The humans are not primitives, Mordok admitted. Reluctantly, our intelligence was wrong. They are a military species, unlike anything we have encountered. The admission caused chaos in the chamber. If the council's intelligence could be wrong about humans, what else had they been wrong about? Representatives began questioning decades of policy and conquest. We must negotiate, suggested Ambassador Colrath. Perhaps we can find terms that satisfy both sides. But Mordok knew it was too late for negotiation. Human demands were simple and non-negotiable. Complete freedom for all council subjects, dismantling of the empire, and punishment for those responsible for centuries of oppression. As reports of new defeats arrived hourly, Mordok realized that his empire was doomed. The only question was whether the council would surrender or fight to the bitter end. Admiral Sunwoo prepared for the final assault on Centralist Prime. The council's homeworld was defended by the largest fleet they had ever assembled. But it was no longer enough. Humanity had allies throughout the galaxy, weapons that could destroy planets. The determination to see this war through to its conclusion. The age of the Galactic Council was ending, and the age of freedom was about to begin. President Somin stood in the ruins of the Galactic Council's Supreme Chamber on Centralist Prime. The massive building that had once housed the government of 47 species was now a broken shell. Smoke rose from destroyed council ships, scattered across the planet's surface. The war was over. 2 years had passed since the council's ultimatum to Earth. 2 years that had changed the galaxy forever. The empire that had ruled for 1,000 years was gone, destroyed by a species they had dismissed as primitive savages. Begin the transmission, Solomon told her communications officer. Make sure every world in the galaxy receives this message. The final transmission would be broadcast across known space, reaching every species that had lived under council rule. It would also serve as a warning to any future would-be conquerors. People of the galaxy, Sami began, her voice carrying 2 billion of beings across thousands of worlds. Today marks the end of the Galactic Council's reign of terror. Today, freedom returns to the stars. Meryl Minho watched the surrender ceremony from the bridge of his flagship. Around Centralist Prime, the remnants of the Council's fleet hung, powerless in space. Their weapons were disabled, their crews prisoners, their mighty empire reduced to scrap metal. The Council's final battle had lasted only 6 hours. Their desperate last stand was overwhelmed by the combined fleets of humanity and their rebel allies. Species that had been enemies for centuries fought side by side against their common oppressor. "What are your orders for the Council fleet, Admiral?" his tactical officer asked. "Strip them of all weapons and military equipment," Minho replied. "The ships themselves will be given to the liberated species. Let them patrol their own space with vessels that once enslaved them." It was fitting justice. The instruments of oppression would become the tools of freedom. Former slaves would command the ships of their former masters. Director Ju was coordinating the establishment of the new galactic government in what had once been the Council's administrative center. Representatives from dozens of species were working together to create something that had never existed before, a voluntary alliance based on cooperation rather than conquest. The Kaleri proposed a mutual defense treaty, she reported to the Assembly. The Mondoc want to establish free trade agreements. The Yaxan are offering to share their medical technology with all member species. The contrast with the Council's rule was striking. Instead of forced tribute and mandatory service, the new alliance was built on voluntary cooperation and mutual benefit. Species that had been suppressed for generations were eager to contribute their knowledge and resources. "What about the former Council leadership?" asked the Dreth representative. "They will face trial for their crimes," Ju answered, "but the trials will be conducted fairly with full legal representation. We will not become the very thing we fought against." Commander Hyen stood in the newly constructed headquarters of the Galactic Defense Force. The organization was humanity's gift to the galaxy, a military alliance designed to prevent any future empire from threatening peaceful species. The Defense Force was built on human military doctrine, but incorporated the best technologies and tactics from all member species. Kalari stealth technology, Mondoc shield generators, Yaxan medical systems, and Dreth engineering all contributed to creating the most advanced military force in galactic history. Status report on recruitment, she requested from her aide. All member species have contributed volunteers. Current strength is over 10,000 ships from 37 different races. Training programs are exceeding expectations. The Defense Force was more than just a military organization. It was a symbol of what species could accomplish when they worked together instead of fighting each other. Former enemies were now comrades, united by their shared commitment to freedom. Historian Doyan was documenting the complete transformation of galactic civilization. The changes went far beyond military and political structures. The fall of the Council had triggered a renaissance of art, science, and culture across the galaxy. Species that had been forbidden to develop their own technology are making breakthrough discoveries. He wrote in his official record, "The Yaxan have developed faster-than-light communication. The Dreth have created new forms of renewable energy. The Colliery have perfected matter transportation. Freedom had unleashed creativity that had been suppressed for centuries. Without the Council's restrictions, species were advancing at rates that amazed even human scientists. The galaxy was becoming a place of wonder and discovery." But Doyen also recorded the darker truths of the war. Entire Council worlds had been destroyed. Millions of beings had died in the fighting. The price of freedom had been paid in blood, in suffering. "We must never forget the cost of tyranny," he concluded, "and we must never allow such oppression to rise again." Researcher Wubin received an encrypted message from a distant galaxy while working in his laboratory. The Tor transmission was weak and garbled, but its meaning was clear. Another cry for help from oppressed beings, this time from beyond the known galaxy. He immediately took the message to President Somin, "Was preparing to return to Earth after the successful establishment of the new galactic order, seems. Our work is not finished," she said after reading the message. "There are other empires out there, other species suffering under oppression." "What are your orders, Madam President?" Ubin asked. Salmon looked out at the stars. knowing that somewhere among them other beings were fighting for their freedom just as humanity had fought for theirs. Prepare the fleet, she ordered. Humanity's mission has always been to protect the innocent and punish those who prey on the weak. If there are other tyrants out there, they need to learn the same lesson we taught the Council. The message that would become known as the final transmission continued broadcasting across the galaxy, its words echoing in every language of every species. To any who would conquer the free peoples of this galaxy, know this: Earth remembers. Humanity remembers. We remember what you did to peaceful species. We remember how you enslaved the innocent. We remember your arrogance and your cruelty. You thought we were primitive. You thought we were weak. You thought we would surrender without a fight. You were wrong about everything. The age of galactic empires is over. The age of freedom has begun. Any who threaten that freedom will face the combined might of every free species in the galaxy, led by the humans you should never have challenged. This is our final transmission to you. There will be no negotiations. There will be no mercy. For tyrants, there will be only justice. You shouldn't have messed with Earth. As the transmission ended, President Soman smiled and gave the order that would send humanity's fleets to another galaxy. Earth's children were going to war again, and they were not going alone. The galaxy had learned that when humanity said never again, they meant it.